Hey there and welcome back to Chatting Utter Bollocks. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, so here's the entire dictionary. Only joking. Enjoy.
We's live.
Is that going to be a thing now? You know, I noticed you've done that when we tried to record this last time. How you just do a clap? Is that going to be like the signal? Right, lads, let's start.
It wasn't a very good clap. It did kind of hurt my hands. I clapped sideways because I didn't want to, like.
Yeah, but you know, it kind of works.
It
But yeah,
well, it gives a signal that we've started anyway.
before we started this, you two were going on about Dead Island or
Yes.
Dying Light. Yeah.
Dead Island.
The sequel to
Dead
Dying
Island.
Light. No. Well, actually, do you know what? Fuck, I may as well talk about both of them really. So you got Dying Light, you've got the sequel. Obviously, it's basically Dead Island, but free running, and obviously, you know, a lot of people prefer it. In my opinion, it's better. Now, what I have noticed with the pair of them, like both the sequel to Dead Island and the sequel to Dying Light, is they are taking a very long time to come out. Have you noticed that?
No, because I didn't know there was going to be a sequel to them.
Oh, there is a second Dying Light that was coming out, and I am very excited for it. But I do not think they're going to make a second Dead Island.
No, that's the thing, right?
Dead Island
'cause
Island.
No, but here's the thing, right? Dead Islands, the sequel to that, sorry, Dying Light, the sequel to that, I'm constantly seeing adverts for it, and just like, the hype for me is just gone now. It's just like, you know what, the hype, it's been going for that long, just whatever. But when we're talking about Dead Islands, I think it was maybe, this is going to sound weird, like, it doesn't sound right to say, but it feels like it was like about 5 years ago when I remember first seeing the trailer for it. And I remember it like, oh, it's coming out at the end of the month. And like I said, that was like 5 years ago. And it's, you know, it's like, what happened to it? It's like, yeah, we're going to make a sequel, lads. Yeah, you've got a deadline and all that.
Yeah,
It's like,
sequel.
put that on the back burner.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just one of them. Like, I'm definitely getting the feel where it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older or anything, but it's like,
Getting old. You're already old.
well, I am going there, right? But well, you know, less talking about me. The point is, you know, you're all like a good zombie game. You're all like where, you know, you're fighting zombies. You know, it's melee weapons, guns, whatever. But what I liked about both of them, like the first Dead Islands and that, was it felt like the zombies were a threat. Now, I've noticed this with a lot of zombie games where it's like, oh no, you've got about 30 million zombies after you, and it's like, I've got this trusty pickaxe, yeah, I'm sound, and you're just able to kill a lot of them. But with those games, something like a group of like 3 were troublesome,
Yes.
and I actually really like that. Like, what's your opinions on it?
What, Dead Island?
Basically, the idea of like the way a zombie game should be. Like, do you prefer it where the zombies are very weak, there's shitloads of them, you can take down all of them, or would you prefer it where there's still a lot of zombies, but even one of them is a threat?
Okay, so it's rather
nice balance.
World War Z or Dead Island. I kind of prefer the games where it's sort of like Dead Island, where even one zombie can be troublesome,
Yeah.
because you actually have to come up with unique ways on how to take them down.
I
Like,
kind
say
of
you got a
like the ones where like you start off and the zombies are like less threatening to you towards you, and as you move up levels, they become more threatening.
Yeah, I suppose that's like a good way of putting it. Like, because
Hold on.
you know, it's always like different ways to do it. Like, you have, because some games have it where it's the opposite of that, where at first they seem bad, but as you level up, you unlock skills, and then they're easy. But it's like, what you giggling at?
I'm trying to move quietly, but all my chair is doing is squeaking.
Right, let's all have a moment of silence and listen to him squeaking his chair. Go on, mate. Go on. You comfy yet?
Thou posterior is now set.
Anyway, moving forwards. But yeah, it's like, because I'm one of those where I prefer it where if there's just like, say, more than one zombie, you know, it's a threat. But even though I prefer games like that, What do you think about the what was it called? Dead Rising games.
Dead Rising.
Never played Dead Rising.
I'm trying to remember Dead Rising actually.
Dead Rising, you've got the photographer. The first one you had.
Oh,
No,
yes.
yes, Dead Rising. I
Yeah.
love Dead Rising.
I love the games.
Yeah, they are good games. Now, personally, I thought the first one. I think there's 4 games, maybe 5 if you include the DLC.
I think that's for.
Yeah, Frank West, that's the fella's name. Yeah, the first one I thought was just perfect. I loved it. I lost count how many times I played it. But I do prefer zombie games where the zombies are a threat. But that is a game where it's the complete opposite of what I'm describing. Yeah, I fucking love it. It's brilliant.
I think the main thing that I like about Dead Rising was how you combine different things around you just to make new weapons.
That was good, but I felt as if they leaned too far into that. Like, I love crafting. You know what I'm like. I love crafting in games. But I felt as if they were like, ooh, this is popular. Let's focus the game around this. It's similar to like Fallout 4. I love the base building in that. But I'm not the only one who was disappointed to find out all the DLC was focused, well, bar 1 or 2. Where like the majority of the DLCs were focused around building the base. You wanted to explore, you wanted to do quests, you wanted to explore this, post-apocalyptic world, but instead you're getting a fancy display in your base.
On Dead Rising, I definitely was disappointed because the zombie killing aspect of it is absolutely amazing. You can find new interesting ways to do it. But the main problem is, I feel, is that the boss battles and the zombie battles are 2 different types of PvE.
What do you mean, like?
Because you've got a guy who's coming at you with a motorbike and you've got to hit him very precisely, but then sometimes your weapon's just not capable of actually hitting the enemy you're fighting, and the enemy can hit you 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah, to be honest...
Oh, you're talking about Dead Rising 3?
2.
Is it
To be
2?
fair,
That was
though,
2.
Yeah.
There is actually a boss fight on the first game where you've got to fight a girl on a bike, and it's virtually the same thing. She can hit you with no problem, but you swing for it, even mid-swing, she'll just knock you on your ass.
Yep.
But I don't think that's a Dead Rising issue. That is just an issue that can happen with games in general. I mean, it was worse like on older games, like on for the original PlayStation and that. But yeah, I get what you mean. Like, but what I did like about the first Dead Rising was I was one of them where I'm trying to complete it, and that woman I mentioned, I got up to the fight where I had to fight her, and whether I lost the fight or won, she would always just like look very serious and just ride off, and then all of a sudden I it's mission failed or whatever, and I couldn't understand why that happened. But what I did like about that game was I just swallowed my pride and just thought, fuck it, I'm just going to keep playing. But since it's one of them where you technically do get an end, you technically do complete it if you just survive the full 3 days. But since you got New Game Plus, you can carry over the progress. So the second time playing it, I was leveled up and I was able to do it with ease. But with mentioning New Game Plus, with a mention of New Game Plus, what's your opinion about that? And should all games have New Game Plus?
What's New Game Plus?
New Game Plus is, I don't know. I'll thinking of a game that. All right, so you've got Doom, right? You've played Doom, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay. What's a more obvious game that's got New Game Plus? Like, actually, we've just been literally talking about Dead Rising.
Oh, no.
The point is, right. So yeah, Dead Rising, right? You start off.
Xbox 360 game.
Yeah. You start off at your skill level is level 1, and then you get up to say, I don't know, level 20, and then you complete the game. New Game Plus is where you start the game from scratch, but everything like you had like progress-wise when it comes to leveling and whatnot, you keep. So you start the game fresh, but as level 20. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right, yeah. So I've got this thing where I personally believe majority of games should have a New Game Plus, because I can't stand it when you spend hours playing a game. Doesn't matter how long it is. If you spend hours playing a game and then when you complete it, you're just greeted to the main menu. It's like saying, "Nice work, you've completed it. Go find something else to do."
Oh, that's what Dying Light did, with the DLC. That's what they did
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. I did not like that. But in all fairness, though, with that game, it was the character that got saved. So it didn't matter if you were playing the DLC, if you were playing the story. Since the character was saved, that character could be ported into whatever world, so you could still keep all your progress.
Yeah.
So it's not technically New Game Plus, but it has the same effects. Because it's like, have you ever played the game Technomancer?
No.
But it does sound interesting.
Right, so Technomancer is so it's based in the future. People have settled on Mars, but they've lost communication with the Earth, and the big, trying to reveal why that has happened. Now, I would recommend playing it. It is an old game, but I would recommend playing it. Don't know if you had the patience for it, but regardless, the point is that was one of those games where you spend real time, literally days playing and trying to do everything on it, and then when you complete it, credits roll, and then back to the main menu. It's like a slap in the face as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, for about 3 years straight, I kept Googling Technomancer New Game Plus, and I was finding nothing, but I'm always seeing the same page. It's like, if I go on it now, I bet it still hasn't updated. Always comes up with the same page. This game needs a New Game Plus. And ironically, you know what? It's one of them, whereas I believe that it should have a New Game Plus, trust me, it wasn't me who made that page. It's just, it turns out it was a common thing that a lot of people wanted, but prayers weren't answered.
Yeah. Well, some games are definitely like that. When, if something you think would be absolutely amazing for a game and it never happened, like Slime Rancher, where you're collecting slimes and just farming them. It may be a simple game, yes, but by yourself, that amazement, that your own ideas can just end. But if they had a multiplayer aspect or something like that, something new, it'd just improve the game wildly.
Well, yeah, it's like I was talking, because I've obviously had this conversation with Panj in the past, and he pretty much hit the nail on the head. What you should have in these games is the option. So, I would suppose, whereas I prefer having New Game Plus in games, really it's, what was the thing I was thinking? That was it, a reward for completing the game, and New Game Plus to me is like a reward. But you have people saying, oh, you don't need New Game Plus because of whatever. And then you have people arguing against it, saying, well, if you don't want New Game Plus and the option's there, well, guess what? You don't have to play it. But if you do want New Game Plus and it's there, well, it's a win-win. And as Panch put it, it's given players the option.
Yes.
And that's really all they should do, giving the players the option. Admittedly, though, you have games like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, big games like that. We're talking shitloads of side quests. My experience with coding is limited, but I do have some experience, and from what little I know it is very difficult to put in, say, a New Game Plus feature when it comes to moving shit around. Like, if a certain character's supposed to be in this area, but you complete the quest so they end up in this area, trying to find that character and then move them back and reset everything, there's a good chance you're going to get a shitload of bugs. So I get it. There are times where you can't have that. So going back to what I briefly said, as long as you get a reward at the end of the game. So, what was it? You've played any of the Resident Evil games?
I've had a look at them. I haven't really played them. I've always wanted to, but I just couldn't get myself to play them.
I haven't
honest,
played any of the games.
Well, be honest, would you say you feel a bit too scared to play? I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
I've seen my friends play them, but because I've seen them play, I just feel like the excitement of having a new game is exasperated, is it?
I'll be honest with you. Go on.
I remember playing Resident Evil 7 for the first time in VR. Like, this was the first Resident Evil game I played.
Alright.
And it was at my cousin's, and he was expecting me to get scared absolutely shitless because of all the good jump scares that there were. But since I play so many games that required cheap place jump scares, I wasn't as scared as they expected.
So you're just sat there like, yeah, it's an alright game, this, and they're just like, the fuck, bro?
No, it's like when you're in the basement and you swing through the water and the body floats up. Like, apparently that got some people, but I don't understand how it gets people.
No, I don't see how.
It's cheaply placed.
If it's
I don't
slowly
like it.
bobbing up from the water, I don't think it could really scare anybody.
No, it's like, when it comes to like jump scares and that, like, to my understanding, when it comes to creating like horror and whatnot, and obviously I'm no expert, but it's like, because you probably haven't played games, what would you call it? Do you know what I mean when I say the Fear series?
No.
Right, so Sam has some understanding. Now, I would say Fear is a good example for creating like a good scare factor, because what it is that made them scary was it's less about what was in the game and more of what the game made you think. So if you're walking down a dark corridor, there might not be anything there.
Oh, mainly Slender Man gives that feature.
Oh,
Slender Man.
There you go, yeah.
hated Slenderman.
Yeah.
PT as well.
Well, yeah, exactly.
and batteries
PT is
all
a good
over.
example. It's like, not much is happening, but the build-up to something happening is arguably worse than the actual jump scare. It's like, if you watch YouTubers like Markiplier or whatever, if they play a cheap horror game, like at the beginning of their channel, hell, sometimes even more recently, but if you watch them play like a cheap horror game that has just been spammed with jump scares, they aren't scary. But what was I going to say? It's like, you mentioned something before, but
I'm surprised the
obviously-
Five Nights at Freddy's franchise did as well as it did, because it's basically the same aspect, just an extra door every time.
To be honest though, if I
It kind of is.
yeah, and it's because of that I felt as if the scariest one out of all of them was the first one.
I think the scariest Five Nights at Freddy's game of the series was Five Nights at Freddy's 4.
Really?
Yeah, because since I am afraid of the dark, just having the sense of natural fear of the dark, and you look down the corridor and nothing but pitch black, and then you turn on the torch and there is a massive chicken just standing in front of you covered in teeth.
Yeah, so I've got a somewhat embarrassing story
It is
about
terrifying.
the dark, right? When I was
Yeah, go on.
younger, I was absolutely terrified of the dark, and my thought process: if they can't see me, they can't attack me. So what I used to do was pretend to sleepwalk with my eyes closed and slowly go over to my light switch and turn it on. Look everywhere. Go back to the light again. Turn it off, close my eyes, and sleepwalk back into bed.
How old were you?
About 7.
Yeah, so nothing to be ashamed of.
Genius. That is actually genius.
No, but technically speaking, right, you can look back on it and you can be like, oh, that's silly or whatever. But the reality is, you had the fear as a kid, and then you fabricated a way of dealing with it. Yeah, technically, you know, let's face it, there wasn't monsters there, but at the time you believed they were there, and therefore you had a method that helped you overcome that fear.
Still
So-
somewhat scared of it now, but then I think logically as well, like, is that a dark hand coming out of my wardrobe? And I'm like, I don't think a dark figure sat in my wardrobe would like to see me in the nude in bed. And like, if he wants to have a photo, he can, but can you just at least shut my wardrobe for me? Because I'm not too fussy. You can hang out, but I'm going to start charging you if I wake up and you're still there.
Yeah, I can imagine you, Christians, just like you wake up in the middle of the night and there's a demon just lurking over you, and the first thoughts coming in your mind is just like, you know what, mate, you can stay here, but you're not staying here for free. You're gonna have to pay me rent.
Yeah. If you're going to haunt me, I
That's what I
want
was
some
thinking of.
haunting fees.
Haunting fees.
Wait,
It's like
do you
rent
do you
for
think dead
ghosts.
people, like, what's a haunted house for ghosts? Just alive people that can see.
I think it's kind of like a little hotel.
They pay
of some
they pay
sort.
to scare people.
Right, now I'm just imagining a ghost scaring some old lady in bed, and she just goes, "Sorry, mate, you haven't paid your scare taxes. It's not gonna work." Oh shit! They dropped the controller. Yeah, it's the ghost there. Mocking them and they're trying to like pull me fucking controller down.
If something goes bump in our house, and my dad's just like, it's the poltergeist, it's Frank, it's fine.
It's back.
It's fine, it's just Mr. Poltergeist.
Yeah, but you'd shoot yourself if the poltergeist was like, no, Mr. Poltergeist was my father. Call me Jimmy.
Call me Jimmy.
I think a polite poltergeist would scare me more, yes.
I think I would be
I've got
more
a fucking
scared
ghost.
of a
Sorry,
ghost
go on.
called Jimmy than anything else.
It's like, so go on then. What is your opinions on ghosts then? While we're on the topic, may as well go more into it.
Well, there must be some supernatural force out there. I wouldn't specifically say it's the undead spirits and stuff, because we've got no physical proof that a soul is real. And that's,
Because it's
that's
interesting
what comes back
you-
as a ghost, apparently, but with no definitive proof that soul's
Well,
real.
it's interesting that you say that, about proof and whatnot. Now, obviously, I can sit there and say, oh, I believe it. And I can guarantee people listening will be just like, I don't know what the fuck's he's chatting, fucking Scouser, he's fucking backwards him. But when it comes to quite a lot of topics, ghosts included, there is so much for and against. And, you've got the people who will, they will hold on to the proof that, it's real. Like, oh, this video, experts can't explain it. And then you have those who don't believe it, who will hold on to videos that have been proven to be fake, going, yeah, this is fake, so that must be fake. But when it comes to discussing that, these people who will, hold on to what they believe and refuse to believe what the other side's saying, it always reminds me and brings me back to, the Flat Earth Society. And it's kind of funny to think about how, don't get me wrong, if you want to believe the Earth is flat, let's just say I believe you're entitled to your opinion, and we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
It's
an opinion, but you are wrong.
Again, yeah, I suppose, but the point is, if you want to believe the Earth is flat, I'm not going to make any negative comment towards the individuals in particular.
I will pay you to go to space.
But it's just how you have some flat earthers, and I believe it was Elon Musk tweeted to them, and I don't know how long ago it was now, but he was like, why is there no Flat Mars Society? And whoever it was responded saying, thank you for your tweets. This is because, unlike the Earth, the planet Mars has been observed to be round. So it's like looking at that. It's like they're looking at you got all this proof that proves.
Sorry, there's going to be screaming in the background.
No worries. Is that your nephew? Is it, or little brother?
Brother. It's
Okay,
my
yeah.
brother. Screams every 10 seconds, earache.
Have you got duct tape?
Yeah, no, I got Scotch tape. It won't work. It's
Moving
too
on.
weak.
We don't condone sellotaping kids' mouth shut, unless they deserve it.
Let's just,
Hey, does this smell like chloroform to you? So anyway, going back to what I was saying with the Flat Earth Society, you've got a lot of them who they will ignore this evidence to prove them wrong, saying no, that's fake because of whatever reason. And the way
I
Go on,
think the most heard explanation for them rejecting that the Earth is flat is because of a fisheye lens. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard that one.
Fish Island, I don't think I've heard that one.
Yeah, apparently a fisheye lens curves the image.
Yes, and our eyes are obviously the same as a fish.
No, it's
To be honest-
when you take photos, I think you can have a fisheye lens that kind of bends the image a little bit, adds a little effect.
Oh, right, yeah. But it's like how the. To be honest, I thought it was going to be more the fact that again with the lens, the curve and whatnot. It was making me think of how some of the arguments they have is look down the streets. If the Earth was round, it would curve, and it's just like you do realise if you could see the curve from standing on the Earth would be laughably tiny. But obviously you can see the curve when you're in a plane. It's like, don't get me wrong, I'm always asleep on the plane, I'm fucking scared of flying anyway, so I don't fucking check. But I have been told you can see it. And it just boils down to there is proof to state that the Earth is round. You have these people just like, no, it's false news. You don't know what you're chatting about. And again, if you want to believe that, that's fine. But the original point I was getting at is when it comes to any topics, and like I said, the reason why I'm referring to the Flat Earth Society is because I've noticed it happening to them most of all. But they will go to 100 experts and say, do you believe these claims? And 99 will be like, nope, you're chatting bollocks. Yeah, but you'll have that one person who'll go, actually, mate, you might be onto something there, and that's all they need. They'll be like, no, we must be right because this one expert has agreed with us, ignoring the fact that several other experts have said otherwise.
Oh, is it
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of like
it's like-
with like the vaccine sort of thing?
Yeah, like vaccines give you autism. It's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've beaten the
Again-
vaccine to that. Thank you.
No, again, as I said before, it happens with multiple topics, and as you just pointed out, saying a vaccine causes autism, that is another good example. You have these people who will say it causes this, it causes that, and it's like, look, here's evidence to prove it doesn't, and they're just like, nah, no, I still believe what I believe.
Yes,
It's
but
like,
my
look,
kid's still autistic.
Like, if you Google, does vaccines give you autism, there will be that one website that says that it does, and then they will believe that one site, even though there will be hundreds that will say that
Yeah,
it's
but
not true.
Sam, it's like those websites. It's like when you Google, "I have a cough," you're going to die. It's like, what? I only have a bit of a cough. Well, you now have cancer as well.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, when it comes to, medication and whatnot, and, Googling and shit like that, have you ever heard of jelly juice?
No, but
No.
So basically, if you went on YouTube, you'd already find a shitload of YouTubers already covering this topic, and it's actually, I think the right way to word it is like a modern day, what was it, snake potion or fucking, what was it? Snake tonic, yeah. It's like a modern day snake tonic kind of thing, where you have this person who states that I have the cure that can cure literally everything. Buy it off me. And it's one of them, like, she claims that, so keep in mind that maybe she's in her 30s, maybe 40s. She's claiming that this tonic can make you live to 400 years. And it's
Yeah,
like,
sure.
okay, where's your proof of this? Obviously, there's no proof.
More like
And
100
then
days.
she's like, it can even grow back limbs. And it's
I
like,
highly
okay,
doubt that. We are not lizards.
yes, very true. But it's like, where's your proof? And I think it was Dr. Paul, or is it Dr. Paul or Dr. Phil? Whatever. The ball.
Phil.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got Dr. Phil, who is interviewing her, and from what I gathered from the interview, her proof to prove that I can regrow limbs is because she had a cut on her arm, and it healed while she was drinking jelly juice. And I'm not being funny, but last I checked, if you've got a cut on your arm, you don't need jelly juice to fucking heal it. That's just the body healing itself.
Yeah.
But of course, she's using this as a proof, and then she's got all these other people who are jumping on the bandwagon, who are like, "Oh yeah, it's a miracle cure," blah blah blah. And it's just like, Jax, do you want to know what the tonic is?
If the only way that I would actually believe that this stuff works is that she chops off her own fingers and they grow back, then I would believe it.
Well, put it this way, I hope you haven't eaten, because how she tries to prove it is rather disgusting. Because for starters, what it is, it's basically just like salt water, and salt, a certain type of salt mixed with some plants, and you get this horrible green goo, and it stinks. And obviously, with it being like an insane amount of salt, it's incredibly bad for you. But she's encouraged you to drink,
Guzzle it down.
I think maybe a gallon or maybe even more. So of course
That's
this-
gonna dehydrate you.
Yes, and so that's you know what, that's the least of your worries, because we're talking like long-term damage, could even lead to a coma. So obviously very, very bad. Fuck up your digestive system of some sorts. And again, like I said, if you're eating, stop. If you have eaten and you're going to be sick of this, I do apologise. But apparently what she's done is she's claiming that when she's had a shit, she's literally with her hands filtering through her shit, and then she's holding bits of undigested foods and saying, see, this is the bacteria that has been leaving my body because I'm drinking the dilly juice. It's like, no, you daft cow. That is undigested food that your body hasn't digested
Turns out
because
the
you're
only
drinking the dilly
undigested
juice.
food was sweet corn, which you can't really digest anyway.
Well, put it this way, it could have been sweet corn, but I am not curious enough to Google this last filtering through his shit. I mean, I have Googled a lot of things in my life, but that's not going to be one of them.
Hold on, since she said, "Oh, this is the food my body rejected," why was she? If she knew her body was going to reject it, why eat it?
No. What it is, she wasn't saying it was the food that was rejected. It was food that wasn't digested properly, but she's claiming that it's bacteria leaving the body.
Yeah, fuck off.
Oh yeah, and also yet to again, shouldn't be talking about food, but the cherry on the cake. She claims that it's where it gives you severe diarrhea. She claims it's not diarrhea, it's water. It's water falling, and it's just like, shut up, you daft cow.
Yes, and I'm a ballerina.
Because it's
I'm
like
7 foot tall.
do you know what?
Awkward fucking silence.
No.
Jesus.
There was a joke that I was going to make, but I was thinking, is it inappropriate or not? Well, clearly I thought it was because of the
Brain
silence.
just stops.
Don't worry, Lucy. It might have been about 10 seconds of silence, but as far as the audience know, it was about maybe 2 seconds. I can edit that shit out.
Brain actually stopped responding.
How about you make it so there's no silence? How about that?
Yes, but now we're
Yeah, but
talking.
the rest of this doesn't now make sense.
Yeah, now we're just
Oh,
talking.
great.
about
Leave the
being
silence
silent.
in.
No, don't worry about it. I'll just cut out the entire conversation. They'll never know.
No, the audience
No,
deserve the
anyway.
truth.
So what we were saying, yeah, so you had the jelly juice, you had the waterfall. Yeah, so while she's being interviewed, here's the thing, right? When it comes to the internet, there's a shitload of things on there.
But
Okay, pun intended, because we were talking about shit.
Yeah.
The point is, there is a lot of stuff on the internet, some good and some bad. The way I'd word it is, if you're going to browse the internet, have some common sense. So you got this lass who
It's a rare thing nowadays.
yeah, it shouldn't even be called common sense.
But if
I'm
you're
being
listening
honest.
to this, you have plenty of it. Yay!
Just like that, then go into the close button. No, but the point is, when it comes to Googling stuff, like you said before, Christian, oh no, I've got a cough, let's have a look on Google. Oh, look at that, I've got cancer.
And nowadays,
you
it's,
know-
you've got coronavirus.
Well, yeah. So it's one of them. Have common sense. You know, it's like, don't, like, you know, take, you know, if you think you've got something, you Google your symptoms. A doctor's opinion is obvious. I don't like doctors, I'll be the first to say that. But even I will also say, you know, a doctor's opinion is obviously a professional opinion, therefore theirs is more valid than the one you've structured based on something you've just Googled. However, since it is a well of knowledge, I have learned an awful lot from the internet. So, you know, it is possible to learn stuff off the internet. But this woman, this Jilly, whatever the fucking name is, she's claiming to know all this medical stuff from Google alone. So obviously, she basically gets laughed at, and you can't really blame people for laughing at that. It's like, look, you're claiming to be a medical expert, you don't know shit, you're poisoning yourself, you're poisoning others, but your degree you got from fucking Google. So,
Yeah.
Just has a 3D printed medical degree.
We'll leave 3D printing out of this.
Nah.
The brain for 3D print. Some of these people
Yeah.
don't know.
oh, really, Christian? And let me guess, is the reason why you got so much into 3D printing because you're using my brain because it's always, Steve, how do I do this? Steve, how do I do that?
Excuse me. I printed the 3D train whistle and it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
No,
how can we fucking
don't.
forget? No, not while we're recording. Not while we're recording.
You better not dare use it.
No, not while we're recording now.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
So let's just
it's
say
like-
small, you know,
How about you just use it at all?
that's all you're getting, guys.
yeah. Well, I might have to bleep that out or something if it gets too loud. But whatever. So yeah. What were we chatting about? Yeah. So it's like, again, when it comes to like searching stuff on the internet and that, it's like get rich quick schemes or these you know, get buff or get healthy quick schemes. What was it? It's like that post that I read out the other day. How someone Googled, is it possible to lose weight by rubbing your tummy?
Yes, it is.
Obviously, fucking not.
If you use
But it's like,
sandpaper.
well, I suppose you would lose some weight, but it's not exactly noticeable, and it's not actually worth doing in the slightest because it will fucking hurt. No, but
Lose weight.
yes, a couple of skin cells and all that. Yes, technically, but because everything has weight and all that, yes, you would lose some weight, but it won't be noticeable to you. No, but anyway, the point is getting like rich quick, or getting in shape quick. At the end of the day, to achieve such goals, you need to put the effort in, and if you're not willing to put the effort in, you ain't gonna fucking get it. But the reason why I'm going on to this is because obviously you have, when it comes to weight in general, obviously you have some who are too skinny who want to gain weight, or those who are overweight trying to lose it. Obviously, we all want that magic pill to make us have the perfect figure. But what I do find funny about it is there was a time when my mum and my brother were both overweight, and they thought, right, okay, let's motivate each other, help each other out, and let's, get ourselves in shape. Yeah. So, and while they were doing that, they were helping me motivate to gain weight. So, that's probably the best thing for it. Have someone to motivate, whatever. And they were doing really well. So, of course, once they achieve their goal, it's expected that you have people saying to them, so how did you do it? What, expecting to hear some miracle. But when they go into detail, you just, the way my brother described it was, he started talking about it, and then the eyes just glaze over like they're just not listening anymore. And I quote, my brother says, it's like they expect me to say, oh, me and me mum, we found a magic lamp, we rubbed it and we got 3 wishes. I wish to be skinny, my mother wished to be skinny. We've got 1 wish left, do you want it?
What, you didn't wish to
Or
set
what
the
you
genie
could
free?
say is just use 1 wish by saying I wish me and my mum were skinny, instead of using 2
I'm
wishes.
sorry, if you're getting into those rules, you could just wish I was the richest person alive, and this, and this, and this. Oh no, I said and, so it's still 1 sentence, so it's only 1 wish.
Do you know what? Would it actually work if they said, right, you're getting 3 wishes and don't be a prick. You can't wish for more wishes.
Stephen,
Go on.
get a piece of paper, write everything down, and
I
wish everything on this piece of paper would come true.
I was literally, you know what? No joke. I was literally going to say that. I was like, could you
Beat you
cheat
to
it by just like writing, like, I don't know, like chapter and verse, just like I would like this, I would like that, even fill in like on the
It's
back
an
of saying,
advanced Christmas list.
we're talking Christmas list to the next fucking level. Because let's face it, you have some films or series where the wishes are real, but there's a consequence to it. Like, I don't know, let's just say you wish for a bike, but then you get a bike and there's no chain on it. Shit like that. Obviously, you have films where it's more severe. So, like what Christian said then, where it's like a wish to be rich or a wish to have more money. It's like, let's just say the way you worded it was, I wish to have more money than everyone else. Instead of getting more money, everyone else is just poor. So, it could just work like that. So, if genies were a thing,
I think you just have to be very specific, though.
Yeah, like, let's face it, you just know how I talk. Hell, people listeners like, fucking hell, mate, shut the fuck up and let the others speak. The point is, I will put all my thoughts to that paper. I don't care how many sheets of paper it is, I'll just write it all down.
You could just end it off with, and with no negative effects to anybody, or myself. And he's like, boom, perfect wish. Nothing will go wrong to anybody else, and you'll just be brilliant.
Well, I suppose if you want to do it the easy way, spoil sport.
I'm sorry, but if I'm going to make a wish, I don't want a pigeon to suddenly fly into an aeroplane and that's my mansion destroyed.
I don't think pigeons fly that high.
How do you know? Have you ever been a pigeon before? No, that's what I thought she face.
I've lived around pigeons my whole life. How dare you?
Sam, we live in Britain. Of course we've lived around pigeons. It's a national bird.
Some places, national bird, they have the eagle, the emu. We have the pigeon.
Yeah, but Yeah, I've got no arguments. Moving on. So go on, Lucy. You've been rather quiet. Go on. You've got something to talk about.
Voice
Thank
our,
God. Talk about.
Oh,
voice
it's
our
like the
opinions.
teacher that notices a quiet kid at the back of the class.
Oh,
That was
fucking
me.
hell. Unintentional attention to that prick. What was it? The teacher. Every single fucking lesson, you got every student with their hands up, and you're just like lowering your head, just like, don't you fucking dare, teacher. And then they just go, Stephen, yeah, you stand up, you fucking pelican. Cow.
Right. Can anybody answer this question? Everybody apart from that one kid with a hand up. That one kid! Hey, you want to answer it, don't you? It's like, no, please, no.
Do you know what?
You
though?
have been randomly selected.
Do you know something? Randomly subjected. I can't even say the word.
If I
Randomly
ever become a
selected.
teacher, I will do that, and I will say you have been randomly selected.
Do you know something, right? I didn't realise this to the age of 24, right? I finished school at the age of 16, so 8 years after finishing high school is when I noticed this. If you're standing at the front of the classroom, now I can't say the word, but begins with P, provisional vision, something at the corner of your eyes?
Yes,
What's it called?
Provisional vision.
Yeah, so you know what I'm referring to. Anyway, when
Yeah.
you're standing in the classroom, you can pretty much see everything, like, in that classroom, like at the corner of your eyes, at the corner of your vision, whatever.
Did you call it your provisional vision?
Yes,
I
you
think
get
that's
it-
what it's
you
called.
Get it temporarily, yes.
No,
It's
not
your
provisional.
Peripheral.
Provisional.
vision.
Provisional. I can't fucking say it.
Peripheral.
Yeah, that word, yeah,
That
thing,
one.
yeah. The point is, you can see the whole classroom when you're at the front. And when I realised this, I got really fucking mad. And you might be able to relate to this. How many times were you trying to be the good students by no one yell out, have your hand up if you want something to say? So you sit there patiently with your hand in the air, your arm gets fucking tired, so you switch. And you're constantly hopping back and forth like you're doing a really slow, awkward fucking dance. And this goes on for 20 fucking minutes minimum.
I fear that I have low blood pressure because whenever I hold my arm up, I can only hold it up for like 5 seconds. And I have to switch.
I just shouted out. I was that type of student. Teaching.
Sorry, who else just put their hand up in air? Because I did.
I did the Scouts honour for a while. 3 fingers.
No, because it was one of them, like, I was one of those students where I tried to be good, didn't I? What a mistake that was. Don't do drugs, kids. Yeah, so
Do glue
my hands up
instead.
in the air, and it was one of them, my hands would get tired, so it looks like I'm just, like, you know, resting my head, like, you know, my arms bent or whatnot, because I'm just too tired to have it up in the air. But what pissed me off is I remember one lesson in maths. I had my hands up at the very beginning, and all I wanted to say was, Miss, I don't have a working pen. I had a pen in front of me, like I said, I don't have a working pen. Okay, where's the problem? I'll tell you where the fucking problem is. This
pen was
fucking
on there,
bitch, right? 20 minutes into the lesson, she starts the lesson, she's talking, whatever. She asks multiple questions, people are answering the questions, and then she asks a question again. She turns to me, go on, Stephen, what's the answer? And I just go, can I have a pen, miss? And she just goes, you mean to tell me this entire lesson you haven't had a pen? It's like,
That
well,
has
this entire
happened
lesson
to
I've
me
had my
with
fucking hand
several
up, haven't I?
teachers. I've had that happen to me with my English teacher. That has also happened with my science, like my old science teacher, an absolute prick.
Because the point I'm getting at is she kicked me out the lesson for swearing. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to being a student, obviously I'm one of them, like, there's no excuse to be a dick. That's just my rule of thumb. There's no excuse to be a dick. But if someone's disrespecting you, like, don't get me wrong, you get these fucking scallies walking down the road who think they deserve respect, and they'll give you shit, and if you give it back, they'll give you more shit, and they have the attitude of, oh, you disrespected me. No, dickhead, it don't work like that. They were disrespecting you first.
Genuine
And I'm sorry, but...
offendingness, then. I heard
Sorry,
that in
what?
your voice. You generally got offended by someone like that.
No, it's one of them, like, I don't like, because basically, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're being disrespectful to someone and there's no reason for it, then you're no different to a bully, and we know how much I hate bullies. So, with this teacher doing that, it's like, look, you clearly saw my hand in the air the entire lesson, and I'm trying to be a good student here, and now you're talking down to me. It ain't fucking happening. Just like I said, I was a good student, but it didn't matter. The teacher talked down to me, and I believed it wasn't a justified reason. I fucking talked back to them and didn't give a shit. At the end of the day, if you're gonna be an asshole, people are gonna treat you like an asshole.
Well, you are a bit of an asshole.
Well, yeah, but that stay on topic, Christian. Come on.
I had a teacher once told me that he liked me better when I was depressed.
Wow.
Beg your fucking pardon.
Wow.
Because I was always, through year 7, year 8, year 9, part of year 10, I was a really loud, outgoing student.
Right.
Got to the end of year 9, and I kind of got some demons and became depressed. And turned into this really quiet, timid person that didn't want to speak to people.
Right.
And one day I was having a really good day, year 11, having a really good day, which I hadn't had for a while. And I'm sat in class and we're all laughing and joking and stuff. And he just comes and sits next to me and he goes, "Do you know what? I like it better when you're depressed than when you're happy because you're quieter."
Cheeky fuck.
I was like, "You do not have the audacity to say that to me. You cannot say that."
Should have been sacked.
I had a
That's
teacher.
what I said. It wasn't sacked. He got told off, but he wasn't sacked.
I had a teacher in front of the whole class. It was only a small little group, the special low-end group. They say it oh, it's not because you're thick, it's because you're special, but you are thick as well. And
Just passive aggressive.
stood up front to us all and said, "Right, I've had it. These two here are the only two that are going to pass this class, so you lot can go, do whatever. I'm only going to focus on these two." And it's so you're giving up on us, and she's pretty much yeah. Still haven't passed English to this day.
Yeah, well, not being funny, myself included, a lot of people tend to use slang and whatnot. So, whereas we may live in England, not a lot of people fucking speak it.
No.
No, but it's one of them, go on, you first.
That's what I've always wondered, in Germany and stuff, because maths and English is a GCSE around the world. Is it called English to them, or is it called German?
No, it's called English. I kind of
For
get the
some
point
reason.
you're getting at, but no, it's called English, but I would assume that they don't say English. There's actually,
A
a
different
German
name.
they will pronounce it different. There you go. That makes sense. Yeah, they would pronounce it different. I just think it's funny though when it comes to language in general. How what was it back when what was it? Talking to Chloe and all that. There was, I can't even remember the joke, but basically I would say, "How many times do I have to say it? No," and it was me saying that on repeat. But for some fucking reason, Panj and that lot, Chloe, Cara, the lot, they just couldn't hear me. So for a joke, I learned a bit of Spanish just to put them in their place. That's how autistic I am. I learned a bit of a different language just for the meme.
Why not?
Have you ever used Spanish after that?
See.
No. I won't lie, I've been thinking about it just then. It's just no, I don't. What was it?
You just did it just to spite them.
I swear, just it's fine. It's just I will fucking do this.
I might be a bit late for this, but this was sung around with the teachers on how dumb they could be.
Oh, go on.
Recently, my school did something with sixth form. They were giving people that are doing sixth form at the school envelopes that have a letter saying that they might be doing sixth form there, and the envelopes were fucking golden. Gold-colored envelopes were being handed out to the people who were doing sixth form, and there was this one person that had one of the envelopes at the back of the queue, since we were gonna queue to go back over to our class, and the teacher caught them at the back of the queue, and they should have been in the middle. And I heard the teacher say, while bringing them back to the middle, "Do you think you deserve special treatment?" First of all, don't give people golden envelopes, and don't say that they think they deserve special treatment.
No, I kind of see what you're getting at there. It's just like, wow, I got a gold envelope. I must be special. It's just like, are you though? Are you special?
No, I'm mainly pointing this over at the teachers because for some reason they thought gold. Yes, let's do gold. Like they could have done like the regular envelopes, like the regular brown, or. But no, they had to go with gold.
I kind of get what you mean.
Our teachers are just danditers, really.
Say that again, sorry?
That. That's it. That's what they do, right? You've got a piece of paper, read it. Not fancy, we're just straight to the point.
I just like looking back and it's just, you know, because high school is weird. It's like, I know it's, don't get me wrong, you know, when it comes to bullies, for example, high school is not fun for a lot of people. And I tell you what, I didn't expect this chat to get so fucking deep, but yeah, high school is not exactly fun for a lot of people, and sometimes it's the students that, well, a lot of the time it's other students, but then the point I'm getting at is sometimes the teachers are just as bad. And it's one of them, like I've obviously pointed out to people before, like even Panch, when I first met him, he was going through a hard time through high school, and I said, trust me, you'll feel so much better after high school. Once you start college, it's completely different. And, you know, he would argue against it, but as soon as you started college, you only fucking proved me right. But what I do think is interesting when it comes to college and that is, supposedly, when it comes to the big I ams, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm fucking great, me, yeah, you know, fuck you, other students, yeah, I'm gonna mock you because you're different and all that. Supposedly, that there's a good chance that those ones aren't exactly gonna do well in life beyond high school. Now, I'm not saying that this is a guaranteed thing, but what I am saying is a lot of the lads who are like that in my school are either in prison or have been to prison. Just saying.
Well, most of, as I would call it, the popular kids now are either dealing drugs, doing drugs, or have a kid.
Well, yeah, what you just said then, the phrase, the popular kids, I knew exactly who you were referring to. With me being so logical, yes, the popular kids, yeah, you know who I'm referring to when I say that phrase, but technically speaking, they weren't that popular.
No.
Like, they only had, like, a group of, say, 7 or 8 of them.
Well, mate, they weren't that popular because they were acting like dicks, but the group
Basically,
of
yeah,
friends
no one liked them.
because they were acting like dicks, it made you think, oh, they're popular, because everybody knows who they are.
Yeah, that's pretty much, yeah, that would actually make sense. They only call popular because everyone knows who they are. Because at the time, like I was saying, like, being logical, it's like, I would have, like, because what was it? You know, John, he's 2 years younger than me. You know, he was, you know, in my school. So obviously I had some friends in his year. I had some friends, obviously, in my year. So I had quite a few friends throughout high school. So I was like, hang on a minute. Why are they the popular kids? I'm more popular than them. But yeah, Lucy, you just hit the nail on the head there. They were popular because everyone knew them and everyone saw them as dicks.
I remember one of my best mates through high school, my mate Matthew. He was like one of the friends I could generally depend on, but the thing is, he was a year above me.
Right.
So when he left, I just had a year of like loneliness. It was like a part of what I, because I couldn't hang out with anybody on my breaks because I didn't know anybody.
Hmm.
And I think that's where me trusting teachers came in then, most of all. But if I had to do a year again, I'd do year 11 again, because nobody could give a shit about who you were and what you were. They just were. That's like, me and my mates weren't stressing about it, because we knew which ones we wanted to pass and which ones we didn't, but everybody was just like, oh, pressure's on, we've got to do revision and all that lot, and it's like, me and my mate, we didn't, like, everybody else in the year had a test, apart from, like, our singular class, because I think it was science. We did BTEC, which was like a class of us only.
Hmm.
So me and my mate, it were only us two in the same lesson out of that class at the time when exam were on. And teacher just said, "Do you want to just go for a walk or something?" I said, "Yeah." Me and him were just strolling around. Like, teachers don't care about you; they're getting ready, strolling around on phones and texting people. GCSEs, they couldn't give a chuff about you. They just
They shouldn't punish
in my
you 'cause they get ready.
GCSEs,
I rocked up at school in non-uniform, and they didn't give a fucking shit because you're in a GCSE and then you get to go home at the end of it. Like, what's the point in watching a 9 in uniform if I'm just going to be in it for like 3 hours?
It's just like talking about how they just didn't give a shit. It's like immediately my mind diverted to what I do during PE. And now I've always had an athletic build. Yeah, hang on. I've always had an athletic build, but I could not be fucked doing PE. I couldn't stand it. We're talking every single PE lesson. Right, lads, come on, we're doing footy. And I was just like, I don't want to do footy. Because how footy always was is the quote-unquote popular kids would play footy. You'd stand round wanting the ball to get passed to you. And when your team loses, they would blame you. And just like, well, you didn't pass the ball to me.
I just got shoved in goal, but I learnt from that.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is with mentioning with PE and, not giving a shit and that. Because of that, also, yeah, I'd just like to point out, shout out if you've experienced this, pissing with rain, you're getting soaked while the fucking PE teacher's wearing a thick coat umbrella going, go, lads.
Yeah,
They don't allow you to wear a coat, and when you actually wear a coat, they yell at you for having one on.
Can I butt in here?
Yeah,
I learnt, because I knew I was always going to be in the goal. 2 things here. A, I argued with the teacher, right lads, you need a quick run round this massive field to get you nice and warm. Number 2, might have been pissing it down, might have been raining, yeah. Here's me, because like, joggy bottoms, nice t-shirt on, I brought my own kit because I wasn't going to wear that skinny shit. And then I wore my winter jacket, so I was there in a massive flumped up, basically wearing a sheep. Nice and warm, just like sat in goal, just like, and everybody's like, let's huddle for warmth. I'm like, no, you're going to take my warmth away from me.
No, the warmth, it is mine.
The thing that I loved about that is if I really felt like I didn't want to do PE, it's no secret that I is chunky. But they did not have spare uniform that would fit me.
Yep.
So if I didn't take my uniform, I was out of PE that day.
Well, what I was going to say though, because going back to not giving a shit, a lot of students did that for me. For my year, because with a lot of us just not liking the fact it was always the same thing again and again and again. I remember we were in the PE hall, and literally all the lads from the year were just sat there, and it was like, well, what's going on here? And then the teachers are just having a go at us, pointing out that like out of maybe about 30 to 40 students, only 3, give or take, had actually brought their PE kits. And I'm just like, well, can you blame us? But then, because me and my mates didn't give a shit anyway, what we started doing is when everyone's doing PE, we'd wander off and find an empty classroom, and we'd chill there for the hour, and we wouldn't give a shit about the noise we make, because whenever a teacher would hear us, we act innocent then. We'll just go, when they say to us, what are you doing here? We'll just go, oh yeah, we've got PE, but because we haven't got our kits, we've been told to come here. So they'll go, no, you've been misinformed. You're going to have to go back to PE and ask them what the room was again, because it's definitely not this one. And then you just go, all right, yeah, no problem. So we'll walk
Wander
on.
off and find a different room.
Exactly. Well, unfortunately, there's only so many rooms, isn't there? So eventually we gravitated to the drama hall. And we just sit in there. But of course, you can't help yourself, can you? You start laughing, you start joking, and we're obviously, with behind the curtain, it's all dark, you're pushing each other over, kids messing about, whatever. And I remember one time, I think his name was Josh, my mate Josh was like, shut up, the technician's coming. They obviously couldn't hear him, so we're just whatever. And then, as we're laughing, just doing whatever, you just heard this deep voice just yell, I know you're in there, come out now. Me quick thinking, right, so the way it was is you had a door to the left and you had the door at the back, and he obviously came from the door at the back, so I just saw the door with that and I just thought, sod it, bolt it, and I just legged it. And my mate Danny followed me afterwards, and I think Robin and what was his name, Connell? So whatever, my other mates, they obviously got caught, whereas me, Danny, we got away. And I will admit, yeah, adrenaline was pumping, it was a laugh. Don't get me wrong, you shouldn't fucking do this, kids. But no, you shouldn't. But it
No,
is
don't
what
listen
it
to
is.
him. Never listen to him.
No, because here's the thing, right? me personally, I had a grudge against this technician, so that's why I didn't give a shit about him. Because since obviously dyslexia, I struggled to, type on the computers. I was fairly slow. Some dickhead used to get onto my account, and they would, play games, and my account got banned. So when I went to sort this out, this technician, he refused to unban me account. And it really pissed me off. I had to go at him for it, whatever. And ever since then, I had a grudge against him. So with this technician coming along, trying to be the big I am, I was just like, yeah, good luck, mate. So,
I remember when it was RPE, half a year I'd stay in ground, and half a year I'd go down lines, like a communal path, to sports centre, just like a few roads away. And in winter, obviously it's freezing, snow everywhere, you've got your mates, walking down, we all got, because it was snowing as well and raining, so we all got drenched. I remember on the way back I threw my bag up, hit a branch, bag came down, mate who underneath it, covered in snow. But people with common sense, if the people at the sports centre have said, we're putting the radiators on to put your clothes on to dry, you'd have thought, whole year, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's go put our clothes on. No. Sir said, if you want to go do it now. I'm going then. I'm getting as many radiators as I can.
Hang on, I need to disappear for 1 sec. Hang on.
It starts playing elevator music.
Stephen, you're a fucker. You better remove this bit, you arsehole, because you're an absolute wank stain, you cunt. Oh, he's back.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh,
Now,
stop talking about him.
yeah, right, so keep in mind, right, so I just had the mic muted, and I heard da-da-da-da. So you tell me, when I said talk amongst yourselves, you were just like, do you know what, fuck it, let's just bullshit content that Stephen's going to have to remove.
Oh yeah, you are removing it, don't worry.
Extra cunt.
Right,
Well,
5, 4,
yeah,
3,
well, I
2,
think
1.
that's effort. Do I really want to remove it?
Right.
Anyway, so what was I saying?
Well, the turning radiators on.
Yeah, go on, you go and
Sports
continue what you're
Centre's
saying.
turn radiator, and I thought, fuck it, I'm going first because I'm a chunky boy, and my clothes take up more radiator space. Turns out, right, nobody else went, and I've got like one piece of clothing on every fucking radiator. So when I put my shit on, it's like, oh, that's lovely. Oh yeah, oh, that's nice and warm. And everybody's like, this is fucking freezing. I'm like, well, you should have fucking done what you were told, wouldn't you, you bastard? And I was walking on nice and warm, and everybody was shivering. I think even a few parents complained because the kids were generally that cold.
They were just like, you're saying about with the snow and that. I remember 1 year, snowed heavily, and by our high school, there was like at the very back of the pitch, a football pitch, and that there was a ditch. So it was quite common that like the older students would loiter around there, myself included. And I remember one time where me and my mates were jumping over the ditches, and I had my phone in my pocket, like in the breast pocket on your shirt.
Yeah.
So anyway, as I jumped over, it must have slipped out there. Giggity. Anyway, so what it was is I went back to the school and I realised, oh shit, my phone is gone. Where the fuck is it? And this was at the start of this was at the start of dinner when I noticed. So we're talking running around at the end of third lesson. Yeah. So I believe it's half an hour for dinner, isn't it? Or was it
15
an hour?
minutes for first break, 30 minutes for second.
Yeah, half an hour. So we're talking half an hour.
Wait, you got 15 for break?
Yeah.
I got 10.
Someone's just flexing the minutes there. Anyway, the point is, so half an hour for dinner. So I thought, right, I'm gonna go find my phone. So my mate Lewis comes with me, and we're looking for the phone. We don't even realise how much time passes, because keep in mind, I don't have a fucking phone. Turns out that a good hour passes, and as I come back with my phone, don't know how the hell I found a white phone in snow, but I found it. I make my way back to the school, and the woman at the reception goes, "What are you doing?" I was just like, "Well, I was out looking for my phone." I was like, "Yeah, but it's fourth lesson." you shouldn't have gone out without a teacher, coming with you. But she's obviously, lecturing me and that, and I'm just like letting her mouth off. But I just go to her, I found my phone though, and she shuts up then and goes, oh, okay then. Well, anyway, go to your lesson. Sounds. I go to the lesson, and obviously with me having, having dyslexia, I had a special class, didn't I?
Yeah.
So of course, the
Bingo!
teacher's going to notice when 2 of her 5 students are fucking missing. Um, so we walk in there, and she's like, "Where have you two gone?" Of course, explain the same thing to her. She's having a go at us, and again, I ended the same way with the woman at the front of the school. I found my phone now, and she shut up then. So yeah, you'd think it's a happy story. I found my phone. Well, it turns out it was in the snow too long. The water. It didn't work afterwards. So yeah.
Yeah, I've had a more funnier way to waste time.
Go on.
Due to some medication I was at the time, I needed the toilet more often.
Right.
And it wasn't a stand-up toilet, it was more of a... And,
Oh, it wasn't a urinal, it was an actual toilet.
yeah.
You need
Store.
an actual toilet.
I needed an
Well, the
actual...
fact is he said stand-up toilet.
I'm
so I
sorry,
had to
but I'm not
clarify.
gonna shit in the sink. Right.
I'm sorry, but the way you said that, you've defo thought about it.
He's definitely thought about that, because when me and Chelsea were thinking about moving out together, the first thing that he said was, don't ever invite me down to your house because I'm going to take a shit in your thing.
But yeah,
Throw me a birthday party,
wasting...
and he's threatened to fucking shit in the sink, and she's crap scared for him to come to her house.
But yeah, worst way to waste time. Started the lesson, said, "Sir, can I go to the toilet?" Shows me toilet, but yeah, you can go. Waddle up there, get to the toilet, trousers down, all that lot. Prepare yourself a little bit of a shiver because it's fucking cold. I'm there minding my own business, finish my business, and then waddle back thinking, 10, 15 minutes passed. An hour later, I get there, they're all packing up, and I'm like, what's going on? Because I'm like, they must be still unpacking. It's like, it's the end of the lesson. I'm like, what do you mean it's the end of the lesson? He said, you've gone to the toilet for an hour. And I'm like, well, I busted. He did it then.
Mate, I'd go for a piss and be gone for 2 minutes and have the each come look for me.
Thing is, I didn't even have a phone or anything like that. I was just like in my own little world, sat on bog.
Like,
but
easy, I can do an hour of blog on TikTok.
Well, yeah, it's like my brother was going through memes, and he saw one where it's like, without using words, describe that you were in a British high school, and it was just a video of this fella getting bog paper, soaking it, and
Throwing
just
it
throwing
off
it to
the
the
ceiling.
Yes. So, with that, we all know that there was never toilet paper in the toilet because that's all the students would do. So, my question is this: Christian, why the fuck did you risk it? If you need to go number 2, why did you risk it?
I don't know, but ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to end it on this crappy note because we have been recording for an hour and 10.
Thank you for listening and we hoped you enjoyed. The next episode coming soon.